Mike Smith now joined by Highland women's basketball coach B.J. Smith, and coach obviously coming off of the third place performance from last year, but a brand new team this season overall. But looking back to last year, what's one fond memory that stands out to you from that crew?
Well, I don't know. There were a lot. We had a lot of big wins, did a lot of good things with that group. You know, probably just the kind of kids we had. It was an enjoyable group to coach as a whole. Came to work every day. They got better. I was actually watching some film the other day. We're playing Northern again, and from where we were then and to where we were at the end of the year, boy, we made a lot of strides. So it was a fun group. You know, you always want to win that last game, but regardless, that was a fun group to coach.
Looking at this year, you only bring back 3 gals from that team, from that season, and you bring in some transfers, but you bring in some green players as well as freshmen. How's things gone so far?
Well, it's a typical early season, and what really has slowed our progress a little bit is Keondra White has been out with a meniscus, and we'll get her back hopefully in the next few weeks. But some of our kids that aren't point guards are having to play the point, and we're just, we're trying to learn what level of intensity is acceptable here, what we do offensively, what we do defensively, terminology, and so it's a process, and you have to be careful. You can't push the process too much, which that's not really my strength. We have a lot of work to do there. We got to get better on the defensive end, and we've got to try to speed up the learning curve for a lot of these kids.
When you look at how the team's kind of progressed in practice, do you feel that the girls are adjusting? I mean, obviously still early to tell, but and you hope that it'll be more come later in the season. But
sure.
Have you seen it at least a little bit?
Well, yeah, we're making strides. I mean, we're making progress, and it's one of those things. I tell our kids every year there's probably 4 to 8 teams in the country that could win a national title. And the 2 that get there are the ones that make the most strides from now to the end. And you can't focus on where you're at today, where you were at yesterday. It's we've got to get better, and tomorrow get a little better, and tomorrow, and the next day, and the next day. We've got plenty of talent here this year. We've got some really good kids. Our sophomores are working hard, but the key is going to be we got to get better every day. And we're probably early until we get Key back. We'll not be as smooth offensively. We don't communicate as well defensively, but our focus is every year is always we got to make sure we're better today than we were yesterday, and better tomorrow than we were today.
When you look at the 3 gals that are back for you, plus some of the sophomores with obviously college experience, you rely on them a lot more here early on?
Sure, yeah, sophomores, and as a young coach, I probably didn't understand how big a difference there were between freshmen and sophomores, and it's night and day. Especially like Keondra White and Deja and Steph who've been through it. Their work ethic, what they expect of each other is drastically different. Where freshmen, they've probably never put in this amount of time. They've probably not been asked to do the things that we ask them to do, and they probably not have failed as much as they do while they're here. So it's the sophomores. I don't want to say they're so much more fun to coach compared to freshmen, but you don't have to spend as much time on them sometimes as freshmen.
Understandable. I can understand that. Coach, best of luck with the season coming up, and looking forward to it.
Thanks, Mike.
Mike Smith now joined by Keondra White, and Key, of course, one of the sophomores returning for this women's basketball team here at Highland. And how has Coach Smith kind of relied upon you and some of the other gals that are returning to kind of help lead the way so far?
We're young right now, so he wants us to teach them what we already know and really help them, because it's a lot to learn in such little time. So he just really wants us to step up.
Coach was telling me, obviously, you got a little bit of an injury right now that you're dealing with, but you'll be back. And how is it kind of hard maybe to sit on the sideline, but still kind of, help your teammates too?
It's hard because I feel like they feel like if I'm not out there, then it's just talk instead of just showing them and actually working. So it's kind of a challenge to just sit there and try to talk them through it.
When you look at some of the girls that have come in, some with experience, obviously transfers, and others obviously coming from high school to now being a freshman, how have you kind of maybe seen your teammates grow in practice so far?
The transfers, they're really they're trying to show some leadership, but at the same time, they still feel like they're in the same boat as the freshmen because they weren't here last year, but we're growing, we're trying.
I know, obviously, the goal ultimately is to get back to where you were last year, a national tournament, regional championship potentially, and a conference title as well. What was it like to be a part of a team like that last year that you can kind of maybe take from last year's team to help relate to this year's team?
It was great being a part of the team last year, but this year you just got to bring a lot of leadership, because last year there was a lot of leadership and there was always someone to pick up the slack, and now us sophomores that were here last year, we got to pick up a lot of slack.
Keith, best of luck this season, and looking forward to seeing you hoop it up.
Thank you.
Mike Smith now joined by a sophomore from the Highland women's basketball team, Daisah Purnell. And Deja, of course, come back with experience, one of only 3 gals that played on last year's team. But what has Coach B.J. Smith expected of you as a leader and a returner?
Right now, he expects a lot. With Key being out at the moment, and then Steph, barely knowing a little English, it's kind of like I'm the only sophomore who was here last year that's playing and speaking English, so I got to step up a lot. And I didn't get as much playing time as I wanted last year, so it's like I got to step up, help other people out, help myself out, and still be able to just make sure the team is doing good as a whole.
In the same sense, obviously, of you kind of taking on that leadership role, there's a lot of new girls on this team, whether it be transfers or freshmen. How have you seen them kind of, take to Coach Smith's, tactics, I guess, in coaching, and how have they kind of maybe progressed?
Right now, everybody's progressing at a different speed, because we do have some transfer sophomores who've been taught like many different things, and right now it's BJ's way. That's the only way we can get it. So we just gotta work as a team right now. That's, I think, what we're struggling as, is just working as a team and working as a unit. And I think once we get all of that together, it'll be a good team. But right now everybody's like on different paths, and we need to get on the same path.
That cohesiveness, I guess, is probably the best way to put it. And team goals, obviously, kind of just continue to strive for what you guys were able to achieve last year, I'm sure. But you got any individual goals too for yourself?
Well, I had a little idea. I was going to try to break Blaze Burgess last year, her three-point record, but I guess I got to shoot the ball enough to do that. So, and then I know as a team goal, we just want to get another one of those and even go higher than what we did last year. So hopefully we can do all we can to get that accomplished.
Well, Deja, best of luck with the upcoming season. Looking forward to seeing you and the gals play.
Thank you.
Mike Smith now joined by a sophomore here for Highland, Janiya Davis. And Janiya, you transfer in, of course, so it's your first year here at Highland. And what's it like to be coached by Coach B.J. Smith so far?
Oh, pretty intense. I love being coached by B.J. because he's going to push me. I'm going to get to where I need to be with him.
You're out play at the JUCO level last year, Vincennes, I believe it was, that you played at. And how do you utilize that experience now to bring it here to Highland?
Just remember some of the things I did last year to try to help this year what I can do. It just, I'll put it together.
You got a tie here to Highland. I'll let you explain it. But what kind of enticed you, obviously, to come here and continue your college basketball career?
My brother on the men's basketball team, he kind of talked to me about the girls program and said they was pretty successful. So I was proud of that. And then he came down here, so I wanted to, get that experience with him.
Of course, you're talking about Tavion Mason on the men's side for the men's basketball program. But what are you looking forward to with the upcoming season?
I'm just looking forward to getting the ring, making some good things happen, accomplishing some big things, doing my job on the court.
I know, obviously, you're taking the time to make your adjustments to this program, but how have you seen some of the other your teammates making adjustments so far in practice?
They making some good adjustments. I see them. They came in real young. They working hard to try to get a little bit more experience, college level. So I see them. They working hard. They're gonna get there. They're gonna be really hard next year.
Janiya, best of luck with the upcoming season. Looking forward to seeing you and the gals hoop it up.
Thank you.
Mike Smith now, joined by Tuana Dinc. And Tuana, of course, you come to Highland after you're transferring in here this year. And what's the transition been like, transferring in here with Coach Smith?
Well, first of all, I don't want to talk about basketball first. Like, I'm coming from a huge city, which has like 5.4 million population, and Highland is pretty small compared to that. And well, that's a big change, but I think I'm used to being in America now. And about Coach Smith, well, in Turkey actually we played kind of similar to this. We ran a lot, and we didn't shoot the first ball. And I've been in D1 and D2 before, and like those coaches wanted us to shoot the first ball, but Coach Smith wanted us to like drive and kick out, and like he wants us to find the perfect shot to take. So I want to say I'm a little comfortable with this rather than other like American basketball style. So I think I'm doing fine with it.
You talk about your experience. Obviously, you were at UT Rio Grande Valley, yeah,
And then, of course, you were playing in Turkey with the national team, I believe it was,
Yes,
when you were younger.
Before my, yeah.
So you got plenty of basketball experience,
Yes.
nonetheless. But how do you kind of use that to help you get better as a player?
Well, I think, like, based on my experience now, I can read the game better. And I believe that's what I'm using as an advantage. I'm working hard.
Of course, all the gals working hard to get ready for the season, and the team last year here did really well, and there's some expectations, but this is a new team. How have you kind of seen, your teammates and yourself kind of adjust to Coach Smith's coaching style, but also to each other?
I think we're still not there yet, and it's the beginning of the road. We have our first game in 2 days, and I believe we're just gonna put up and do better on the road, but for now I think we're just still trying to get used to what Coach Smith wants. We're trying to get used to how we play with each other, but we'll get better.
What are you looking forward to with the season coming up?
What do you mean,
Just anything, anything you're looking forward to, like your individual stuff or as a team. What are you excited about the most?
What I'm excited about? Well, this is my first JUCO experience. It's like I've been playing college ball for almost for 3 years now. This is my 3rd year, even though I got injured last year. So I want to win this year because we didn't do good on my D2 and we were decent on my D1. And this year I just want to do good, go to a tournament, and get somewhere. That's what I'm looking forward to.